Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. Guess who I am? I'm Jason Whitlock, your host. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you and yours. Happy day after Labor Day. Wow, do we have a great show planned for you today. Bill Belichick was in action last night, or was he in inaction last night? Bill Belichick's off to a terrible start. I don't think it's going to end well. I'll talk about that here in a moment. We'll talk about that with Steve Kim. We'll also talk about Tom Brady. And did he take a shot at Shedeur Sanders? We'll play you the video. LeBron James has a new Nike commercial. Did the Green Bay Packers, did they buy a lemon as it relates to Micah Parsons? Did Jerry Jones send an injured linebacker to the Green Bay Packers? And I'll let Steve talk for a minute about the Miami Hurricanes and their victory over Notre Dame. Then I will have some additional thoughts on Shannon Sharpe versus Ray Lewis. Shannon Sharpe has responded to Ray Lewis's criticism. We'll have a tiny bit of As the WNBA Turns. Talk about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They're the 7th seed right now, but could end up the 8th seed or maybe even out of the playoffs should Caitlin Clark come back. On the Harmony Channel, Snoop Dogg, the Alphabet Mafia made Snoop Dogg backpedal real quick. Shamika and I will talk about that. And we'll talk about Brittany Renner and P.J. Washington, the NBA player. Play you a video of a dispute between those two at their home. Anyway, that'll be on the Harmony Channel. Fantastic show for you. If you're listening over Apple, I need you right now, if you love me, if you love this show, I need you right now, 5-star review. It's very important. It helps the show grow. 5-star review on the Apple Podcast. Right now, if you're watching over YouTube, hit the likes button, get the likes up. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends. This is the best conversation about sports in the world going on this show. Join the Fearless movement by hitting the 5-star review on Apple. How about that? How about them apples? All right, let me get right into today's show because I just want to warm us up, and then Steve and I we'll go into a bit more detail here about Bill Belichick. They got their brakes beat off of them 48-14 last night by TCU. I believe unranked TCU beat the brakes off of the North Carolina Tar Heels. And look, TCU will probably be ranked. It's a good team, but there is a problem. The Horned Dog got the brakes beat off of him by the Horned Frogs. That's what happened last night, and I don't think TCU will be the only ones to get the best of the Horned Dog, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, and I've said it, and I went out on a limb, and I'm doing my I told you so after week 1. This North Carolina deal is not going to work. It's a wrap. Bill Belichick is making a fool of himself. His team looked soft, looked confused. It looked like a team that's being led by a 73-year-old man who is publicly gallivanting around, parading around with a 24-year-old sugar baby. Bill Belichick is being led by the wrong head. And when you're led by that head, at 73 years old in particular, young men are not going to follow you. Bill Belichick has reached his expiration date. Bill Belichick went through 73 years of life and then decided, you know what? These last years, I'm just going to give in to sexual pleasure. I'm not interested in being a great football coach. I'm not interested in protecting my brand as a great leader. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm a horn dog. And the Horned Frogs came in and kicked my butt and embarrassed me on national TV. Did you see the fourth quarter of that game? That place emptied out. It's over in Chapel Hill. It's over. It's not coming back. The fans came. Michael Jordan was there. Lawrence Taylor was there. Randy Moss was there. Everybody came. And they were like, uh-oh. This isn't what we came for. This isn't going to be the resurgence. This isn't, Bill Belichick righting the wrongs of the last 3 or 4 years in New England. This isn't Bill Belichick proving that, hey, I don't need Tom Brady. This is Bill Belichick collecting a check and pulling a scam on North Carolina. As you all have heard me say, I have a great deal of respect and affinity for North Carolina's athletic director, Bubba Cunningham. His first full-time lead athletic director's job was at my Ball State Cardinals. Love Bubba Cunningham. I'm not blaming him because I'm sure it was people higher than him, but he's got an impossible situation on his hand, and everybody wants to talk about Kellen DeBoer. And, hey, when's Alabama going to get out of that deal? I'm saying after one game, North Carolina should be figuring out how do we get out from underneath Bill Belichick. And it's just one game. Nah, man. When that guy showed up with his girlfriend, his 24-year-old girlfriend, and she's participating in interviews, she's on field during spring practices, he's on the beach with her on his feet up in the air. When you saw that was like, oh, we got the wrong coach. We got the wrong coach. This guy is living out some sexual fantasy that he did not get to live out in his younger days when his life was devoted to football. He's not into football. He's not into no distractions. He is the distraction. It's a wrap for Bill Belichick as a legendary football coach. It's North Carolina needs to be, Mike, can you cut us a check? Can you help us out here? North Carolina, LT, I know you don't have Mike's money, but can you help us raise some money? We got to buy Bill Belichick out. I don't care. Turn it over to his son. But Bill Belichick, as the leader of this football, it's not going to work on television. The TV ratings are not going to stay with Bill Belichick. This isn't a Deion Sanders situation. People tune in to watch Deion succeed. People tune in to watch Deion fail. It's watching Bill Belichick fail this spectacularly. It's embarrassing. There's not he hasn't carried himself in a way that people would derive pleasure from watching him fail. It's more just sad. It's pathetic. I watched that last night, and I was like, look at this guy. He's making a fool of himself. College football, the whole NFL stoic Bill Belichick, Tom Landry just stay. Yeah, we're on to Cleveland. I know I don't want any distractions. Yeah, we're just getting ready for Cleveland. It doesn't work. They went down on their first drive, scored a touchdown, looked good, and Bill Belichick stoically, no reaction. That's not college football. That's not how you interact and lead 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Even though they got millions of dollars, even though you probably hate them the same way you hate pro players that got millions of dollars, they feed off the head coach's energy. There has to be some sort of emotion. And Nick Saban, he's not overly emotional. He got more emotion than Bill Belichick. It meant something to Nick Saban. Bill Belichick stood on that sideline and looked like, when's that direct deposit hitting my account from North Carolina? Oh, that's every 2 weeks. I guess that check will get there on Wednesday. That's what Bill Belichick looked like. He did not look like a college football coach leading a bunch of kids who were excited. It's their first game. It's this electric crowd. No emotion. Worked in the NFL, probably works still in the NFL. It will not work in college football, particularly when your quarterback, your best quarterback, the kid they had to play at the end, is the exact same age as your girlfriend. This was a disaster, an absolute disaster, and North Carolina needs to be figuring out today, how do we hit the eject button? I sound, you can't do that after one game. Bill Belichick's earned more than that. You're overreacting. No, I'm not. I've been saying this since they hired him. Since I saw her in that long coat, jacket, walking on the spring game or spring something, helping Bill Belichick get mic'd up, walking out, I was like, hey, this isn't going to work. You can't parade your sugar baby, who's the same age as your players, around the football facility. It is open season on Jordon Hudson right now. Her DMs are filled. And I'm not talking about with TCU players who were cracking jokes in their locker room about Bill Belichick. I'm talking about in his own locker room. They're in her DMs in his own locker room. If there's one atmosphere and environment that I absolutely know, it's a football locker room, and it's a predatory environment. And if Bill Belichick wants to parade around his sugar baby, who's the same age as these players, she will be targeted. Particularly when the coach is a laughingstock, particularly when the team is a laughingstock. And Bill Belichick is making a laughingstock of himself and North Carolina. They better be having some long meetings at North Carolina right now. How do we get out from underneath this? Let's turn it over to Bill's son. He's already on the coaching staff. Bill, you and Jordan, deuces. We'll see what, if Steve Kim agrees with me, if I'm overreacting here. I don't think that I am, but, you know, you guys tell me. Let me, before we get to Steve Kim, let me remind you all that Prize Picks is one of the reasons we have today's episode. And I want to thank Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by them, Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Do you guys remember last year, my mother, king of Prize Picks, she's got a prize pick for this week, Jamar Chase, more than a half rushing plus receiving TDs. Jamar Chase, this is a great pick. All she needs is for Jamar Chase to score a touchdown in the Bengals season opener. The guy just got paid all that money. This is a great pick by my mother. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the app today and use the promo code FEARLESS to get $50 off any lineup after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code FEARLESS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Steve Kim. Next.
And as a dad, we all want our kids to succeed. When you're a man, and Jason, you don't have children, and I have one son, 3 daughters, 1 son, and I truly believe fathers, there's only one person walking this earth that I want to be better than me. And I wholeheartedly hope that happens, and that's my son. Like, I want others to do well. Do we want people to be better and do better than us? No, we don't. We always say we do. No, you don't. But my son, man, I hope you're better than me in every facet of life. And that's what Prime wants for his kids. So I don't fault him for doing and saying certain things, because when you have children, you want everything for them and you want them to be better than you.
모두 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러
All right, welcome back. Steve Kim. Bill Belichick is toast in my mind, and they should be looking for an out. Am I overreacting?
Well, first of all, good to see you again, Mr. Whitlock. And I was stunned and pleasantly surprised when I got off my flight from Miami to LAX and I saw Fearless. I was like, oh my God. Here I am expecting a full Labor Day of WNBA talk. You devoted it to college football. Great show. And I'm not going to lie to you, Jason. I thought during halftime of that game, I thought you were going to call me and say, Steve, yeah, can you set up your computer right now? We need to do a special live show. What a disaster. I mean, Jason, after the first drive, which was scripted, you're thinking, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This is good. And then about 45 minutes later, reality had fully set in. So, Jason, we talk about what a disaster this is, right? There's no doubt about it. And I have to take the easy comparison. It is the Titanic. Think about it. Great hoopla. A lot of fanfare for months. The takeoff was great. Then the iceberg. And it was one block of ice after another. I mean, Jason, they went on a 41-0 run, TCU, which, by the way, that's a good team. Really is. And I love the stat that Gio Lopez had not completed a pass for over 2 hours. And you just look at the way the crowd dispersed like it was a fire drill. And I made a few phone calls to Chapel Hill. It is now officially basketball season at UNC.
Am I overreacting?
No.
By suggesting they should be moving on immediately, as soon as possible?
Jason, they can't. They have to at least get into the ACC play. Now, if you look at their schedule, I do believe they play Clemson, but they miss a lot of the other really good teams in the ACC. Okay, so it's only week 1, and I am fascinated by this story. I don't want him to move on. Jason, this is the funnest thing we have going. Come on. You have Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Can you at least let me have Bill Belichick in UNC for Pete's sake?
I got it. I don't think people derive as much pleasure from watching Belichick fail as much as they're like, this is kind of gross. And I mean that. I'm talking the public deal with Jordon Hudson and watching him fail this spectacular, it's more gross than like, oh, he's getting exactly what he deserves, even though he is getting exactly what he deserves.
Jason, when I'm off this show, when I go to the office, the whole day, I literally mean this, I will be watching Boston sports media podcasts and radio shows. Trust me, they are sharpening their ginsus. They probably treat this like the Super Bowl. I cannot wait to see what those guys have to say because they have an axe to grind. But Jason, I didn't understand this. There were people that literally said that they might be an ACC threat or maybe the 3rd or 4th best team. They brought in 70 new players and a quarterback in Gio Lopez, who was kind of a late transfer. And then you had a quarterback battle, and I'm not so sure what they do now that Gio's hurt and Brad Johnson's son actually looked pretty good in garbage time. You bring in 70 new players at once. And all I'm going to say is this. I didn't see any Dre Bly, Quentin Copels, Robert Quinn. I certainly didn't see any Lawrence Taylors or Kelvin Bryant. This is a bigger rebuild. I think the bigger story is, Jason, to be serious, is not if Belichick is going to just last the year or even stick it out. I want to see if he's actually in this for the long haul to truly rebuild this alongside Mike Lombardi, because one of the theories is why North Carolina made this move. They're trying to make a move into the SEC, and they want to show everybody we are a serious football program.
And I don't think Bill Belichick helped send that message at this point. And I'm just serious. And I'm someone, man, I really like Michael Lombardi, and I'm really rooting for him, and that's why I don't take any pleasure in this at all. But the reality is, I just don't think you can fix it with Belichick, and that the only ray of hope is potentially Brad Johnson's son. Is like, oh, maybe he should have been the starter, and next week we'll see how he plays, and maybe that will be the ray of hope that keeps hope alive and keeps Bill Belichick in play. But I tend to doubt it. I tend to think, like the Titanic, this is going to the bottom of the ocean. There will be no life preservers. There will be
Wait a minute.
This thing is done.
Jason, speaking of Michael Lombardi, this is proof. I have great respect for him, too. I just read this, learned a lot, really enjoyed it. Okay, for any football fan, pick this book up. Now, so we go back to the Titanic. Let's go to the movie. It was a classic. Let's all admit it, even as guys, it was a good movie. We didn't watch it 50 times like the women, but so I have a question. So at the end of that movie, is Belichick Jack holding onto that door? And Jordon Hudson says, hey, enjoy your life, but I'll see you at the bottom. Not really. And she just gets on the lifeboat. Think, is she Rose? Is she Rose in this situation?
She potentially is Rose. I had one other little thought here as it relates to just Belichick and do we think Tom Brady and the former Patriot players, I think some of them are enjoying this, particularly if you're one of those guys that Bill Belichick let go maybe ahead of the curve because he thought, you only got one good year left. And maybe Robert Kraft, maybe the New England Patriots, they were ahead of the curve and was like, no, this guy's reached his age. Maybe the whole NFL, this is why he didn't get a job. I tend to think the stories about Belichick and young women, and particularly this one, maybe everybody in the NFL had figured out this guy's thinking with the wrong head, and there's no value here left in him as a football coach.
Well, I think you need to call Hadley and see if he can get Richard Seymour, Ty Law, or Willie McGinnis on the show, because they fit your description. What's ironic about it is, Jason, it turns out maybe the Patriots stuck with Belichick a few years too long. So the question then becomes, Jason, was the Patriot way or the Belichick way really coded phrase for, we got Tom Brady. We got Tom Brady. Good for us.
That was, and thank you. Could anything, if this goes as poorly as it looks last night, will it damage Belichick's reputation? He is known as the best football coach probably ever. Yeah. He may end up losing that title. Could he not? Could he?
Well, Jason, let's be clear. There are certain guys that are built for the NFL. There are certain guys that are built for college. Nick Saban was the inverse of this. I would say Lou Holtz was an excellent college football coach. He didn't last one season as a New York Jet. There are very few Pete Carrolls, and there are certainly very few Jimmy Johnsons that can do both. But in terms of his legacy, the fact that Tom Brady had two successful seasons at Tampa Bay, including a Lombardi trophy, post-New England, that probably hurts it a little bit. Look, I want to give Bill Belichick all his respect. He was still the leader and the coach of that team. But all the other stuff that has happened since 2020, it doesn't destroy his legacy in my view, but it certainly does not enhance it.
Final thought here. Tap into your knowledge of football, great college football coaches.
Yeah.
And include Nick Saban in this because, in particular, I don't think Belichick's stoic, no emotion personality, it doesn't work in college football. And I know that Nick Saban was a tiny bit stoic, but Nick Saban had emotion. He would get angry on the sidelines. I just, that little shtick that worked in the NFL for a long time, 20 years, it just doesn't work in college. You score that first touchdown and you act like nothing happened. I don't think that's how you jazz up, inspire a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
There's no doubt, Jason, Nick Saban was all business. It was very structured. But have you ever seen him on the sideline when a team gives up leverage and doesn't set the edge defensively and lets a play bounce outside? he was anything but stoic. Trust me, one of the famous clips of Nick Saban is they're playing one of these directional schools. They're up 58-0 with a minute to go. Some third stringer blows the coverage. I mean, he called a timeout, and you would have thought they just lost the SEC title. And he went nuts. And there's great footage of him, Kirby Smart, and the guy that ended up going to Florida as the head coach. Really good defensive assistant. Name escapes me right now. They got on these kids' cases. They stayed on their backsides, and they got in their face. And they asked Nick Saban, well, Nick, why'd you react like that? He says, don't you understand? That kid's going to be my starter against LSU next year. You think I start coaching him then or now? I mean, there was a real piss and vinegar to him. And you're right, that whole monotone business approach and, well, you know, we just got to play football and, you know, it's going to be fun. I mean, it's still cringeworthy. Like Holly Rowe. Holly's a very nice person. And they're playing this pregame interview, and I'm like, Holly Rowe is not there to ask you any gotcha questions. Can you just play along a little bit? But it's the same, well, you know, football's football, and you just got to go out there and execute. And I'm like, oh, God. This is why the Boston media hates the guy, and because I'm a media member, say what you want, I kind of get it, Jason. I kind of get it.
All right, let's stick a little bit to New England. Tom Brady had something interesting to say about evaluating quarterbacks and how they celebrate after scoring touchdowns. Let's play shot number 2.
Because football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time. I wanted everyone to feel like they were part of the success. I told the linemen, we're all running to the end zone and we're celebrating as a team. Because I think that's way more intimidating than a quarterback doing his 6-shooter guns and pointing up in the crowd and doing all that other bullshit that's very self-promotional, but it's not about winning. And I think winning in football is about a team, always a team attitude first.
Huh.
Is that a shot at Shedeur? Is that why the Raiders didn't take Shedeur?
Well, the Raiders had a few opportunities to draft him, did they not? Even after the first round? I don't know if it's a shot at Shedeur. I know one thing, Jason. It certainly wasn't an endorsement.
It's to me, it's a direct shot, and it blows up. And this is where I give Dion and his marketers and all this. They had this picture paint. Oh, Tom Brady is Shedeur's mentor. And I called Tom, and he and Shedeur talked on the phone, and Shedeur leaned into all of that. I think it was all smoke and mirrors. I don't think there was any authenticity to any of it. If Tom Brady had been mentoring Shedeur would have taken that gold chain off, and the whole watch deal would have never happened. It was all a scam.
My belief is if they truly were a mentor-mentee relationship and that dynamic actually existed in an authentic way, Shedeur Sanders would have absolutely aced the interview process. He would have been the model student. He would have been a guy, as soon as he walked in the room, he would have said and done all the right things. And by the time he walks out, coaches and the organization and the GMs in Indianapolis would have said, that's our guy. The opposite happened. Very simple.
Steve, I want to move on to LeBron James's newest Nike commercial. Let's play it. It's shot number 3.
They called him the Chosen One. He carried the weight of every expectation on his shoulders. But he never broke. We were all witnesses. Every rival was defeated. Every idol was destroyed. He took the crown and kept it. Behold the greatness. He is the forever king.
Love it, like it, or hate it?
Loathe it. Loathe it. I wish he'd get out of my life so I can go back to being a Laker fan. He's the greatest narcissist of all time. He really is. It's not even close. And to do this, look at his Laker run. You take away a bubble, which absolutely has an asterisk to a lot of people that are in the NBA, cover the NBA, love the NBA. So even at least half the people don't even count that as a title. There has been a point of diminishing returns for at least 5 years. Now, Jason, I believe coming into 2017 or 18, or maybe directly after leading the 3-1 comeback against Golden State, that particular ad in that tenor and tone, I think would have been palatable to a lot more people than it is in 2025. Think about it, Jason. We're about a decade out from that comeback victory over the Golden State Warriors.
I even then, I just think it's all inappropriate. Michael Jordan didn't have to run around and tell everybody, I'm the forever king, I'm this, I'm that. Other people did it for him. And I know this is Nike, and I know LeBron didn't design, but he certainly had some oversight and could have said, like, hey, guys, what are we doing here? You know, let's put out a commercial of other people talking about me and talking about how great I am. But this whole deal of me anointing myself and celebrating myself, this is the biggest example, proof that he's not the GOAT. Is that he spent so much time celebrating himself and telling everybody, and here I can hear the LeBron people. I can hear them right now screaming and shouting, and it's the perfect thing for you to speak to. Hey, Muhammad Ali did it. He called himself the greatest. I'm just doing what Muhammad Ali did. That would be his argument.
Truly dumb people do not understand context, and I think they do it on purpose. When Muhammad Ali said it, you kind of were in on the joke. He was kind of doing it tongue-in-cheek, even though he meant it, but there was a certain fun involved. And even if you disagreed with him, he'd laugh and he'd argue with you in a very humorous fashion. Jason, this here just makes you cringe over and over and over again.
Here's the other thing about what Ali was doing. You know, context, time and place does matter. Muhammad Ali's in the 1960s.
Yes.
There is palatable racism. There is conversation that, hey, black people are inferior, blah, blah, blah. He's being defiant. LeBron James lives in a time where, and I don't care if people disagree and don't understand it or want to live in delusion, but the entire establishment, from the Black Panther movies to the Woman King movies to the Equalizer, everything is black is the greatest. Black, black, black. The black man's great. There's 16 black quarterbacks. Black. Everything is a celebration of blackness. There should be some humility from that. Muhammad Ali was being defiant and speaking against anti-black bigotry. LeBron James is living in a time where it's almost illegal to criticize black people that are Democrats. And so it just doesn't land. It doesn't land the same. It comes off as narcissistic and tone deaf.
Yeah, and there's a self-serving nature. And again, if you ever really watch the Ali interview, especially the ones with Howard Cosell, there was fun. It was a banter. It was kind of like the shtick, and everyone was in on it. But there's something so self-serving about LeBron. And Jason, you're right. He didn't edit. He didn't cut the commercials. But to think that he only gave a taciturn endorsement of what was put out, you'd have to be incredibly naive, if not flat out dumb, to think otherwise.
Steve, I want to keep it moving to something I find very interesting. Here's Adam Schefter, I believe yesterday on Micah Parsons. Packers linebacker Micah Parsons has been dealing with an L4, L5 facet joint sprain in his back, and he may take an epidural injection prior to Sunday's game versus the Lions if needed to help him play, per sources. Before trading Parsons last week, the Cowboys prescribed him a 5-day plan of an anti-inflammatory cortisoid, prednisone, to help him recover from back tightness. They also had him on a physical therapy program. Parsons has been practicing this week, and he is trying to play in Sunday's opener versus the Lions, though one source said it is uncertain. I saw another report from, I think, Polymarket Football, where they speculated that he may have to take an injection all season. Does this back injury perhaps explain why Jerry Jones was cool with moving on from Micah Parsons?
Jason, I don't want to go out there and compare players or any athletes to a commodity like a car, but when you sell a used car, you know what that Carfax says, and you're trying to sell a used vehicle. You're like, hey, don't worry about it. It has 80,000 miles on it, but it runs great. Don't worry about that tire. We'll put some air into it. I'll get a new Fram oil filter. We're good. There's no doubt in my view the Cowboys understood what they had in the mileage on the odometer. And to think that the Cowboys didn't understand there's a back issue, and those things can be tricky. Now, on the flip side, Jason, if I'm the Packers and I've already made a long-term commitment towards Micah Parsons, I don't rush him back. I don't. I'd actually say, look, if we have to wait till the first month after the fourth game to make sure that you are ready to go, and for the long term, not just this season, we want to protect you and our investment, that's the tack that I would take.
It is the tack that I would take, but, man, you've promised this guy $47 million a year. I think over the next 4 years, most of this money is guaranteed, and he's got these back issues, and I'm sure there have been guys that have had this, but he plays defensive end. He's not playing one of these protected positions, wide receiver. You can't get hit over the middle the way you could. Obviously, quarterback. He's playing one of the most physical positions, and people say he's not good against the run, and that might be a back issue. And so if all you got is a speed pass rusher or a relentless pass rusher, a guy that plays on maybe second and third down and maybe hurts you a little bit on first down, $47 million a year, maybe Jerry Jones just isn't as stupid as people thought.
Well, and also as an edge rusher, you have to have that ability to bend. I assume that puts a little bit of pressure on your spine because you got to do some things. You have to be a contortionist. But let me do my Jerry Jones here. Well, as an old businessman, I know when to hold them, I know when to fold them, and I truly know when to sell. Jerry Jones, look, we all have our criticisms of him, but he understood time and place in a guy's career. And Jason, they're not going to be as bad, but the New York Giants take a lot of heat for trading Saquon Barkley. My only criticism of that deal, because the Giants were going nowhere. With Saquon Barkley, they may have won 2 or 3 more games, as great as he was, right? The only criticism I have of the Giants, really, is that they traded him within the division. Think about it, Jason. Do you think Saquon Barkley made the Giants a 10, 11-win team? I don't. I think they're just too incomplete. So I kind of understood it, and at least Jerry Jones got him out of the division, if not the conference.
Steve, final thought. I want to give you some time to gloat and celebrate your Miami Hurricanes. Where do you expect them to be ranked? How impressive, you were there, how impressive was that victory over Notre Dame? Your thoughts on Mario Cristobal at this point? The floor is yours. Unpack your Miami thoughts.
Well, first of all, I want to say something. What a great crowd. I get it. Miami doesn't show up to every game like that. It's not a college town. But what a great scene at Hard Rock Stadium. Jimmy Johnson came out, the greatest of all time, signaling the hurricane warning. It was an unbelievable scene. And then, Jason, get this. This is how much America has changed. The national anthem, when it was sung, everybody stood up and everyone was into it. People were singing along. There was no one was sitting down. Both teams, fans were in it together. And then as the song was ending, they had the jets fly by, the fighter jets. And just such a patriotic moment. And as I saw it, I just said to myself, those are my tax dollars at work, and doggone it, I'm proud of it. Now, as for the game, Miami did a great job. They're 1-0.
Hold for 1 second. Hold for 1 second. Hold for a second. I do want to. You've made something I didn't realize because I didn't watch the pregame national anthem and all that other stuff. That is fascinating. The cultural shift that you're talking about. That everybody. Look, obviously, Miami's got a lot of Cuban fans, a lot of black fans, a lot of everybody.
We're ethnic. Yeah, we're ethnic.
Yeah.
We do.
And to see that kind of sea change as it relates to there was no black national anthem played, Steve.
This ain't the NFL, okay? So, and I was next to a group where it was mixed between Miami and the Notre Dame section, and everyone was in it. And this lady, I wish I knew her name. She did a beautiful job, and there was no protesting. No one was sitting down. Everyone's really into it, and it had the big game feel. Because even though Notre Dame and Miami used to be rivals, they're really not. We came together as Americans, and it was great. As for the game, I think Miami played very well for about 80% of it. They controlled the game. But, again, I love Mario, and I have to preface this. Those last 4 drives, Jason, he got more conservative than Rush Limbaugh. We paid a quarterback millions of dollars not to just hand off, but I think there was a little bit of trepidation because Notre Dame has 2 NFL corners. Miami's wide receivers are a little bit young. I think that's going to change as they get a little bit of a better feel. But Miami won the game, and they're just 1-0. It's just one step, and now we work our way to Bethune-Cookman. That's what our focus is now. 1-0. That's it, Jason. We're not celebrating anything here.
Where do you expect the Canes to be ranked?
Top 5. Top 5 because there was movement. Texas has to move out. And by the way, we got to get... The Arch Madness was not about Manning. It was about those people that said he was a Heisman Trophy front. Joel Klatt, I love you, but I'm talking to you. It's not just Feinbaum. We got to get into that. Clemson moves out. Alabama, we should jump them. So Miami is probably in the top 5 or 6. But again, this is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And last year, Miami hit Heartbreak Hill.
Did you run it? I saw a great picture from that game of Ray Lewis.
The greatest.
I mean, these are three of the greatest athletes of all time. Ray Lewis, Stephen A. Smith, and Michael Irvin. Did you run into any of those guys?
Okay, my seats were good. They're not that good. I don't have sideline access. I enjoy being a fan. But, Jason, someone actually posted that picture. It's Kevin the Trucker, great fan of ours and Coach JB. He had a great line. He said, 3 legends, but let's make this clear. Only one guy hit 17 straight three-pointers in a row. Point taken. Point taken, Kevin. Can't argue that.
Steve, I'm going to put a pin on this and let you go. Congratulations to your Hurricanes. They didn't even have to cheat with the refs the way they did Ball State a couple years ago. Congratulations. Good victory. Thank you, Steve. We'll see you later this week. Before I move on, I want to remind you all of the greatest thing you can do for me in this show. And that's right now, go to fearlessmission.com. And I'm saying this sincerely, not an ounce of hype in when I say this. If you like the content that we do, if you like the fact that we try to represent the voice of the fans and try to actually speak for fans, because this entire sports industry doesn't give a crap about fans, I need you to go to fearlessmission.com and become a subscriber. It's the greatest thing you can do to support me and this channel and support a voice that is speaking for you. And many of you have been so bludgeoned and demoralized, You think, well, I don't even need a voice, and it doesn't matter, and blah, 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 and I hate sports anyway. No, you actually need a voice. We're doing it. Become a subscriber, fearlessmission.com. I think if you use the promo code, am I right about this? I think you can get Fearless Mission. Join Blaze TV today at fearlessmission.com and get $20 off right now and as low as $8 a month for your annual plan. fearlessmission.com. While you're there, pick up one of your Pay Fans Respect t-shirts, and there's a box out here in my studio, and it better have my t-shirts in it, or TJ Moe's in trouble. Anyway, Pay Fans Respect, the 10 fan commandments on the back, or you can get it without the 10 fan commandments. Go to fearlessmission.com. When I come back, I got some additional thoughts on Shannon Sharpe versus Ray Lewis. Next. In no way am I suggesting that Ray Lewis is perfect, but what he said here about Shannon Sharpe is what frustrated me about Shannon Sharpe, and what frustrates me about a lot of these guys is there's nothing they won't do for money. There's nothing inauthentic they won't do for money. And so Ray is sitting there like a lot of people was like, hey man, Shannon and drinking, that was never him. And now he's, on air, smoking blunts or pretending to smoke blunts, and the whole alcohol thing is like, this dude done switched up for money. And I'm not trying to beat up Shannon Sharpe. I'm trying to get you to understand that everybody knows who has really sold out, who has really done things that aren't consistent with their authentic self, and they've done it solely for money, and everybody pretends like those are the real ones. And they're not.
These words are our religion, no regrets in our decisions. We all want to go to heaven with freedom. It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
All right, welcome back. That was a commercial from my previous comments on Shannon Sharpe and Ray Lewis. I want to refresh everyone's memory by playing what Ray Lewis had to say recently on the Patrick Bet-David podcast about Shannon Sharpe, because Shannon Sharpe has responded. So I believe it's SOT number 5. Let's play the clip.
Shannon Sharpe, did you think he was one day going to be a good TV guy personality?
Yeah.
So you knew he was made for TV?
Yeah.
And would he say he's going to do it?
Yes, he had already started prepping.
How much before he retired did he tell?
He'd been started.
Oh, so he's known he's going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So you're not surprised by the success he's having with his podcast and TV and him and Skip and Stephen A., all that stuff?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm shocked at his content. I wouldn't, in a million years, the things that Shannon has said now or did now, I would never believe that Shannon would say or do any of this.
Like what?
Simply, I take drinking. Shannon, in my entire career, I've never saw Shannon with a drink. Ever. Like it was against the law, right? Because he had some stuff in his family that he didn't want to follow that. And then so I kind of started to watch him, and then we kind of went our own separate ways, because I'm like, you're going to take that route. I can't go that route. Never can go that route. And that route is to become so worldly that you become popular because you're talking about ignorance, right? A lot of times, a lot of these gossip conversations that they're having and bringing up all this stuff, I'm not going to do that to nobody. I'm not in the business for that. I'm in life to try to teach people what does it mean to be a better man or get back to the kingdom, And a lot of times, a lot of the guys get in trouble with these podcasts and things, man, because everybody wants the follower, everybody wants to be popular, everybody wants to make money, but that's a tight that's a tightrope into what you call influence and popularity. Right? The devil has the ability to make you popular. God has the ability to give you influence, that when people see you, they see an image of him. And that's the thing for me that started to switch with not just Shannon, but just a couple of people. I'm like, wow, you would switch out like that? Really? And I would never, ever. Why? Because of the respect that I have for my mother, my daughters, my granddaughters, life, period. Like, and I think men, given these new platforms, we've overrode what the platform is actually for. The platform is supposed to help somebody find a new direction. We don't help.
So that was Ray Lewis talking about Shannon Sharpe, and it's a very powerful statement and commentary. It's deep, it's layered, it's nuanced, it's well-intentioned. And people, because of social media and because we've been dumbed down to a point that people can't understand fully what Ray is talking about. What do you mean? Oh, Shannon drinks and, he didn't drink during his playing career and now he does and Ray's criticizing him for it. He gave you one little tiny example of the change in personality of Shannon Sharpe. It's much deeper what he's inferring, and he explains and leads you to that conclusion. Most people can't. People love the clickbaitishness of conversation, and they minimize and they maybe even can't understand the depth of what Ray Lewis is talking about. I'm going to explain it, but I want to first, Shannon Sharpe, I believe, yesterday on Nightcap with he and Ocho Cinco, he responded to Ray Lewis. Let's play SOT number 6.
I got nothing bad to say. Because a lot of things when you tolerate it, I'm gonna go ahead and say my thing. Whatever transpired, I'll bite my tongue, I'll be the bigger person. I'll walk away, hey, you right. Cause you know why, Ocho? It's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You know how I know? Because your boy, you looking at him, he low-hanging fruit. And there are a lot of people taking your shot at your boy.
Come on now.
Y'all can have it, y'all got it. Y'all got me. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We're going to be all right, Ocho.
Yeah.
Now, Trivia say we're going to be all right.
Yeah, listen, I could have told you that. I could have told you that. I've been telling you that.
Yeah.
So
everybody want to pile on. Everybody jump on now. Hey, we got him down, Ocho. We got him down. The best time to, hey, let me get my lick now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody want to get a lick now because when your boy was doing good, you hear a lot of people that have a whole lot to say. Not everybody got something to say.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give Shannon credit, and I mean this sincerely. This isn't the worst response he could give. I expected something worse than this. But it's also not the proper response. And it's not a transparent, authentic response. And what Ray is intimating here, that Shannon is having difficulty dealing with, and I don't blame him for having difficulty dealing with it in real time. He's not surrounded, in my view, by people that will be honest with him and help him see the bigger picture. But I want to make an analogy to the movie Bamboozled. And this was back when Spike Lee wasn't a sellout. This was back when Spike Lee actually tried to make movies that mattered and had a point of view and a message to them. And he did this movie, I believe, in 2000. I think it was written clearly in the late 1990s. It hits theaters in 2000. And it's about these television characters that an executive, I think that was played by Michael Rappaport, the actor. Michael Rappaport, who is Jewish, played this television executive, and I think there was a black television executive involved, and as a lark, as out of desperation, out of, hey, we'll do anything to try to draw some TV ratings, and maybe they were trying to mock. I think the black TV executive was trying to mock the Michael Rappaport character of like, man, y'all just want buffoons and a minstrel show. And so we're going to create these characters, Man, Tan, and Eat and Sleep. And the next thing you know, this show becomes very, very popular. And America falls in love with it. It becomes this high-rated show where these guys go on camera and play these minstrel-like characters called Man, Tan, and Eat and Sleep. This was back when Spike Lee, before he sold out, and his movies used to have a legitimate point of view. And he could never win the major Hollywood awards, and he was reviled in Hollywood. Since then, Spike Lee has taken the bag and taken the check. He's done what Ray Lewis is intimating Shannon Sharpe has done. He's been bamboozled. And as you guys have heard me say on this show, I was at FS1. Me, Shannon Sharpe, at the outset, and Chris Carter were the three black guys that FS1 had hired under Jamie Horowitz. Jamie Horowitz created the minstrel character that Shannon Sharpe calls Unc. He put Shannon in that minstrel role and put him opposite Skip Bayless and Undisputed. And there are many of you, oh, this show had amazing success. No, it didn't. Not for all the marketing money and all the push that they put behind it. But it did work for Shannon Sharpe, playing this minstrel character, going on TV with a do-rag and drinking liquor and smoking, pretending to smoke blunts. All of this coming out of character at the behest of Jamie Horowitz, who's basically the Michael Rappaport character from Bamboozled. And so as you listen to me talk right now and explain to you what really goes on in television and calling out the people by name and tribe, this is why I'm hated. This is why I'm reviled. Because I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and what Ray Lewis is calling out. And I give Ray credit. He's done it in a classier, safer way than what I'm doing. But I'm speaking straight facts to you. That what Ray Lewis is talking about is, I can't believe this man put this clown suit on, this minstrel show performance for Jamie Horowitz. I'm not going to do it. That's what Ray Lewis is talking about. And y'all, how come Ray Lewis didn't reach out to Shannon personally? I'll walk you through why that is. Because putting on this minstrel character that Shannon did, Uncle Shay Shay, and pretending to be this black, angry, militant preacher, as Shannon Sharpe did. And Ray Lewis is sitting there like, it ain't just the drinking, it's like Shannon Sharpe's on television pretending to be Malcolm X, pretending to be Dr. Umar that likes to drink, pretending to be Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, and Ray Lewis is like, man, I know how Shannon gets down. When the OnlyFans model, the little young white girl, got Shannon Sharpe and got his money, there are guys like Ray Lewis, myself, anybody that played with Shannon in Denver, anybody that played with Shannon in Baltimore, anybody that knows Shannon Sharpe. Well, this OnlyFans model, this little white girl, no one's surprised by that. That's Shannon Sharpe. And I don't say that to criticize who Shannon Sharpe likes to date. Because if I had to criticize Shannon Sharpe for who he likes to date, I'd be criticizing myself. but you'll never see me anywhere. Oh, I love the fruit, but I hate the tree. I'm not one of those Negroes. I'm authentic. And Shannon has been a fraud. And I don't say that with venom. I say that with regret and disappointment. And that's what Ray is doing, with regret and disappointment. Shannon Sharpe, in his heart, is a fun-loving, good guy that was raised in the church, raised with some down-home values. But for a check, but for 20, 30 pieces of silver delivered by Jamie Horowitz and the Hollywood television industry, he will play that minstrel role. And Ray was like, no, I'm not doing that. And they fell out years ago. And please hate me. I want the hate. But I'm speaking, it's all facts. It's all facts. There are people like Jamie Horowitz who love to put Negroes in minstrel shows and call it blackness. What was the movie they did where it would pop up? Message. That's why I keep going back to it, because I don't want you to miss the message. Don't be a menace. I am a menace. And they will hate me for speaking facts. Did I lose my I want to walk you through a little bit of the history, because Shannon's talking about low-hanging fruit. And here's the other aspect. And there's many layers, and I won't get to all the layers that Ray Lewis is talking about. But there's many layers to this criticism, and I want to touch on a few of them. Shannon's talking about low-hanging fruit. What was Brett Favre? Shannon Sharpe is wise enough to know that Brett Favre didn't steal millions of dollars from poor Mississippi people because he couldn't. The politicians control that money, not Brett Favre. Brett Favre was trying to get them to spend that money on Southern Mississippi University, Southern Miss, his alma mater, the school that Mississippi taxpayers pay for, on their school, that volleyball facility. And this whole little deal, you don't have to be that smart to know that these state governments, federal governments, they build in all this fat to all these bills. So they spend all this money on welfare and all, so they can create slush funds and spend the money wherever the hell they want it. If we want to put a volleyball facility in at Southern Miss, let's take it from the welfare deal. This whole deal, like, oh, people in Mississippi couldn't get their EBT cards because of Brett Favre. That's all a lie, and Shannon Sharpe knows it, and Ray Lewis is sitting there having been through the criminal justice system and been lied on. Ray's like, man, me and Brett Favre, we ain't got no problems. We're Hall of Famers together. We played at the same time. We've been friends. I'm not willing to do Brett Favre for clout and clicks and violate the brotherhood that is among Hall of Fame NFL players who played at the same time. Sterling Sharpe built a good, significant part of his career off of Brett Favre. Shannon Sharpe knows Brett Favre, knows the relationship Brett Favre had with Sterling Sharpe. But still, when given the opportunity to play the militant, angry black man on TV, given the opportunity to, I love the fruit, but I hate the tree. Let's play the clip of what Shannon Sharpe, he saw some low-hanging fruit with Brett Favre and took it. Let's play shot number 8.
The problem that I have with this situation, you got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. Skip, Mississippi is the poorest state in our country.
It is.
Its citizens So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. The man got the, and this is what we know. Scared when black and brown people do fraud the government, they hell bent. You get an EBT card and you get WIC and you get stuff like that, boy, they move heaven and earth to try to put you in jail for $400 little measly dollars.
Fact.
Now this man done took $1 million. Somebody got $3 million. Somebody got 400,000.
Yeah.
And they sitting around like, well, you know, it happened and we'll see. And they're gonna get more money and do it all over again.
That's Shannon Sharpe with his white minstrel show character, Skip Bayless, backing a bus over Brett Favre. It's low-hanging fruit. It's some pretending like he cares about taxpayer money in Mississippi. And like this money was being funneled into Brett Favre's pocket. Look, this isn't me, and do I like Brett Favre? Yes, I do. But this isn't me caping up for Brett Favre. Check my records, check my history. Check how many friendships I've lost because of like, hey man, like you a lot, but you've done something foul here. I'm going to call it out. This is, talk about why I'm reviled. That's why. Because myself included, they can all catch this Whitlock smoke. And they do. I'm not caping up for Brett Favre here. I'm just speaking factually about who's been bamboozled and what Ray Lewis is talking about. And what I want to play you one last deal here. This is kind of a longer clip, but when you want to understand what happened to Ray Lewis and Shannon Sharpe, and people say, man, when Ray Lewis got in trouble in Atlanta over the Super Bowl, Shannon Sharpe had his back. How dare he criticize Shannon Sharpe? He should have done this in private. And I hate this whole, you should have reached out to him in private. People send me that. You should just call up LeBron James and tell him personally what you think about him. Why you got to do it in public? And I can't get upset at the people that don't have any understanding of life and how things actually work, but it's just a stupid argument. Shannon Sharpe publicly criticizing whoever the hell he wants because he bought into this TV character, went on TV and criticized Ray Lewis. This is back when they were boys and friends. Went on TV back at FS1 and was criticizing Ray Lewis, calling Ray a hypocrite because Ray, working with the Baltimore Ravens during that whole Colin Kaepernick deal, fell to both knees. Ray said he didn't take one knee, but Ray made it crystal clear he wasn't down with the Colin Kaepernick BS. He was trying to be there for Steve Bisciotti and the Baltimore Ravens, trying to lead these guys a better direction, got caught up, but Shannon Sharpe hopped on that to criticize Ray, and that is what ended their friendship. That's when Ray started backing up like, man, our brotherhood and all this stuff, you out here doing this for clicks and clout. And it doesn't matter how good of friends we are. You clicking and clouting. And so this is about a 3-minute clip of Ray and Shannon going back and forth over Colin Kaepernick. Play SOT 7.
But see, when I listen to Steve talk, he says, I like how he went from sitting to kneeling, but he never mentioned why Colin Kaepernick kneeled. Now, the very thing that Colin Kaepernick was protesting is the very thing that President Trump encouraged on Friday, which was police brutality. Now, Steve Bisciotti owned that team, and in 2015, you were there. You and I talked about it. Something happened to Freddie Gray. He lost his life for police brutality. I have yet to hear an owner talk about that. I have yet to hear Steve Bisciotti talk about that.
I know, but so let's be very careful with that for this simple reason. Right now, there's over 200 plus murders in Baltimore. How many people you got talking about that? Nobody. So I'm just saying, before you put somebody in a pickle to say,
No, I'm not putting him in a pickle, Ray. I'm talking. Okay, let me ask you this: when Pookie shoots a Willie, they find Pookie. Where Pookie going? He going to jail. When these police shoot these unarmed black men and women, even on camera, where they going, Ray? Back on the force.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the police brutality. See, what they're trying to do is that when we talk about police brutality, they talk about Chicago, they talk about Detroit, they talk about Baltimore. Okay. You want me to come up with a solution that you helped put me in.
I 100% understand what you're saying. And what I'm trying to tell you is there's no issue with what you're talking about with police brutality. We're sitting here as men.
Yeah.
So let's understand this. We're sitting here as men. And me and you, as men, ourselves, not watch nobody else deal with police brutality. I lived it.
Oh, I know.
So understand that. Just understand the dynamic of what we're talking about. I'm not talking about if this person stood out. It's not too many people. Say it for what it is. It ain't too many people gonna stand up to go into black neighborhoods and worry about black folks killing themselves. That's factual. So sooner or later, then we figure that out, then we're gonna start taking care of ourselves. So when I started to start to understand these things, Shay, what I started to understand was that ain't Steve Bisciotti's fight what happened to Freddie Gray. That ain't no owner's fight.
Yes, it is, though, Ray.
If it is,
this is America.
If it is, then all of our owners should get together and go in these urban neighborhoods and clean it up. Why wouldn't you?
Because, Ray, they don't care because it's an issue they're never going to have to face. It's people like you and I that's been there and know people that's faced these issues. You talking about Steve Bisciotti is never going to have to worry about the police beating him or a family member down. Jerry Jones, Mr. Kraft, they never going to have to worry about that.
That's what I just said.
So why should they care? They should care because it's the United States of America. You care about what's going on in the Ukraine. You care about what's going on in Venezuela.
It's this character that they had Shannon playing. It talks him into a level of insanity and illogic that's laughable. They've twisted him up in a pretzel. And that, what you just saw from Shannon Sharpe is what happens to all of these black racial idolatry people that play this role. Oh, I care so much about Freddie Gray. Oh, and in my defense of Freddie Gray, I'm going to go on TV and pretend like Steve Bisciotti, a billionaire owner, should care about Freddie Gray. The person that I'm pretending to care about, who I don't give a damn about, who I wouldn't want living next door to me, who if I saw him crossing the street, I'd cross to the other side so I wouldn't have to encounter him. And I'm talking about Shannon Sharpe and the overwhelming majority of black people want nothing to do with Freddie Gray, want nothing to do with George Floyd. It's all an act and a gimmick. What Ray Lewis is saying is like, I'm not going to participate in that act and gimmick. I'm not going to go on television and pretend like Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Baltimore Ravens, who never is going to have to deal with getting locked up and getting thrown in a paddy wagon and beaten up. Why should he care about Freddie Gray? You don't really care about Freddie Gray. If black people don't care, why should he? Because it's America. And Shannon's entire argument is, doesn't Steve Bisciotti know it's his responsibility to take care of us? That's what he's arguing. And Ray Lewis is arguing a man's position. My job to take care of myself and my family. And Shannon Sharpe, this is again, when you want to understand why Shannon Sharpe and Ray Lewis have a problem, having hosted shows for as long as I have, having been friends with people for as long as I have, having had integrity, whatever level of integrity that I've had for as long as I've had, I would never put Ray Lewis, friend of mine, or anybody, and him and Shannon were really close. Me and Ray ain't that close, but I like Ray. I would never put him in that position. I'm like, because I'm sitting there doing the easy math. Hey, man, Ray Lewis is one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player in Baltimore Ravens history. He's very close to Steve Bisciotti. They're thick as thieves. So I'm not going to bring Ray onto my TV show, accuse Steve Bisciotti of basically being racist, and have to put Ray in the position of, well, now you got to defend Steve Bisciotti. And Ray, being a good friend and a person of character, is like, well, I am going to defend. If you're going to put me in this position, I am going to defend Steve Bisciotti. That is my friend. That's someone that I break bread with, make bread with. That's someone who, and again, let me do the math. Hadley, someone help me out. I'm going to look here on the internet, make sure I'm 1,000% correct on this. When did Steve Bisciotti buy the Baltimore Ravens? And was he the owner of the Raiders when Ray Lewis got in all that trouble in Atlanta? Sorry about this. Who? 2004. When did Ray get in trouble? 2000? He bought the team. Regardless, well, look it up. When was it? 2000 Atlanta Super Bowl? I can't remember. Steve Bisciotti has stood by Ray Lewis in 2000. Yeah, Steve Bisciotti has stood by Ray Lewis in the aftermath of Atlanta, and was the owner a significant portion of the time that Ray Lewis was a great player, and now you're putting him in a position where I got to throw Steve Bisciotti under the bus, or I have to defend him, and now I have Shannon basically on TV softly and leading the audience to believe, look at Ray Lewis defending that white man over Freddie Gray. And so, yeah, Ray's like, man, I wouldn't do this to Shannon. I wouldn't do this to nobody I call a friend. I don't know if I would do this, Jason Whitlock would do this to anybody. If I got a problem with Steve Bisciotti, I'm going to argue with Steve Bisciotti. I'm not going to drag someone else into it. But it's complex and deep what Ray is getting at. Shannon's response is very surface level. It sounds like I'm being super critical of Shannon Sharpe. And perhaps I am. But it's in the hopes that Shannon Sharpe would wake up and realize what it is he's done. Apologize to Ray Lewis and be on. Look, if you're willing to sell out and play the minstrel role at the behest of Jamie Horowitz or whatever television executive asked you to do that, just cop to it and admit it. And just say, you know, some people aren't willing to do this. Ray's constructed his life, built his life, and has handled his finances in a way that he doesn't have to do that and doesn't want to be associated with that. This, I got more fired up about this than I intended to, but I think I'm done here, and we'll get to a brief little as the WNBA turns next. They have a website on ESPN called Anscape. Everyone thinks it's like, that's a typo. This is a landscaping company. But this is the stupidity of feminism. This is the anger of feminism. This is the anger of black feminism entitlement and the demonization of everything men do. Jason Whitlock, he doesn't hate Trump enough. He's not liberal enough. We must get away from anything he did. He's horrible, he's bad, and we must put a feminine stamp on this. And so they took something wonderful and beautiful and a gift, and they turned it into a landscaping company. And the site hasn't done anything of any relevance for the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I'm sorry if that upsets people. That's not me being petty. That's not me trying to diminish the people there that are trying to do some level of work, but the place sucks. And everybody knows it. All right, before we get to as the WNBA turns, I wanted to make one little point of clarification. I think Bisciotti bought the Baltimore Ravens, 49% of it, I believe, in 2000, and then ended up getting a majority stake of it in 2004. And so, once again, when we sit here and talk about an owner that went through to hell with Ray Lewis with gasoline underwear on in 2000, he buys 49% of the team in 2000. Ray has the incident in Atlanta. Steve Bisciotti is a ride or die with Ray Lewis. And you put him in that position. And you can sit there and talk about, well, Shannon Sharpe said X, Y, and Z about Ray in 2000. The owner put his money where his mouth is, stood by Ray Lewis. Who does he owe his loyalty to? And so when you start digging into why they fell out, trace it all the way back to Colin Kaepernick, trace it all the way back to Black Lives Matter, trace it all the way back to Shannon and this inauthentic role as some sort of black social justice warrior. It's all a gimmick and an act for clicks. Once the clicks went away, have you noticed there is no Black Lives Matter movement? There aren't all these athletes caping up for every common criminal that gets beat up or smoked by the police. There's no clicks in it. There's no revenue generated from it. So it all went away. These people have been lying from the jump. Now that you can't get a job promotion from George Floyd, no one cares. You can hate me for calling it out in real time. The George Floyd thing was bogus from the jump. It was a gimmick for clicks, ratings, traction, job promotions, Juneteenth, all a gimmick. No one does it anymore. Oh. All right. Let me bring. I done jacked up this whole deal. Frank and Maurice, I hope y'all not mad at me. I jacked this up. I got fired up and got jacked up. You know what? I'm glad y'all here. But we got to be quick without hurrying. And I almost don't even want to talk Caitlin Clark. Anything, you can talk about whatever you want. I promise you guys, I love to get the fans' voice on here. If you got something you want to say about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, if you got something you want to say about Ray Lewis and Shannon Sharpe, if you got something you want to say about me, I'll let you do it now. But first thing I got to find out is, Frank, help me out here. I'm 58 and my eyes are bad. Maurice, what do you have around your neck? You're not going Cam Newton on me, are you? Yeah. Is there something around your neck? What am I? Oh, a hoodie. All right, never mind.
No, this is a button up. This is a button up.
Oh, button up. Oh, I can't. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going a little Cam Newton on me, but you're not. You actually, okay, it actually looks a little fresh. Anyway, Maurice, just while you're here, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about if Caitlin should return. If the Indiana Fever had made a push, they are in the 7th seed as of right now. It looks like we're going to get into playoffs. Should she return? That's what I want to know.
All right, well, hold for a second. Why are you confident at this point that we're going to make the playoffs? I know we're the 7th seed, but that's by a thread. I think the LA Sparks' finishing schedule is probably a bit more favorable than the Indiana Fever. I'm not sure if we're locked into the playoffs, and if we make it as the 8th seed, it's not worth it. We're going to get the brakes beat off of us by the Minnesota Lynx, and I don't want Caitlin Clark participating in that.
Yeah, I want to avoid the 8th seed.
Hold for a second, Frank. Go ahead.
I want to avoid the 8th seed. I want no parts of having to deal with the Minnesota Lynx in the first round. I don't think we stand a snowball's chance. But I don't think the Sparks are going to catch. You got to remember, we play the gum on the bottom of the shoe, Chicago Sky, so you could pencil in another win there. We only need to win 2 more games, and we're in. So I think we have a good chance of making the playoffs. And if we are able to get the 7th or the 6th seed, I'm fine with playing the Mercury, the Dream, the Aces, and Asia Wilson's special whistle. If Caitlin Clark is healthy, I only want her to come back if she's healthy. If she's healthy, we can beat any of those teams. I'm telling you, Whitlock, I watch these other teams. It's not a lot of great product out there. It's a lot of we criticize the Fever. Have you taken a look at some of these other chicks trying to play ball? We can beat any of them. We can beat any of them.
Aces are on like a 12-game winning streak. I don't want any parts of them. Frank, your thoughts?
Well, listen, Jason, you criticize my rise, all them Ray Lewis lies. I'll let it slide, but it's Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5. Right, man,
you just did that off the top of your head?
Yes.
Oh, that was good. That was good. You should have said the Fever in 5, but anyway. You should have said the Fever in 5, but anyway, go follow up on that if you can.
All right, so no doubt, man. I want them in the AFC. I want the Lynx out the gate because, listen, it's a tough road anyone you play out of the Aces, the Dream, the Lynx. The Aces and the Dream have the front court we don't want to face. And either Asia Wilson will destroy us, Natasha Howard. She casket ready. She need to retire after next game, but that would destroy us, right? Bree Jones and Bob Griner, we don't want no parts of good bigs. Now, when you're talking about the Minnesota Lynx, Nefessa Collier, yes, she's a power forward, but she's not a back-to-basket, right? And if we got all of this is predicated on Caitlin Clark coming back. If Caitlin Clark is back, I like our chances with the Lynx because we always gave the Lynx a tough run. You understand what I'm saying? So we beat them. We got confidence when we played against the Minnesota Lynx. And they don't have the bigs that will destroy us in the paint, like Dream and the Aces. So if we happen to upset, because upsets happen in sports, Jason, we know. If that happened to be the case, then the Fever has the easiest road to the championship. They take over the Minnesota Lynx road to the championship as the 1 seed. So if we gonna get beat us early. If we got any kind of chance and get in rhythm, give us the toughest task.
I'm gonna say the craziest thing I've probably ever said about the WNBA right now. Frank, you respond first, but it's really in reaction to Maurice. Maurice said something about, we got the Chicago Sky and we're going to beat the Chicago Sky. And I'm like, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Angel Reese with a chance to damage the Indiana Fever and knock them out of the playoff spot. If Angel Reese is healthy, Cardoso is healthy, and Ariel Atkins is healthy, and no Caitlin Clark, I believe the Chicago Sky are going to beat us in this final Chicago Sky Fever game of the season. I really do. I think Angel Reese will try to have, I think she'll go for 30 and 20. And I say that sincerely, and they will knock us off. Frank, you first.
I don't believe in Angel Reese whatsoever. She's C-tier, just like Candace Parker said. She can't carry her team to wins. The Sky is now they had the worst record since franchise history since she's been there. So I don't believe in the Chicago Sky whatsoever with Angel Reese and them trying to force feed her. So I'm not really worried about them at all. They beat themselves, Jason. So I can't agree with you on that one. Chicago Sky is terrible.
Yeah, no. The Chicago Sky are 9-30 on the season for a reason. They are that bad. I'm pretty sure we could go to the local YMCA, local 24-hour fitness, and find some girls that could beat that collection of professional basketball players. They're that bad. The coach, I don't even know. Tyler Marsh is on his way out. Your days are numbered. The management, Jeff P., he's terrible. From the top down, the building is on fire. The building is on fire. They're done. They don't even want to play anymore. It's over.
Loopy.
Angel Reese is having an impact on me in terms of she's a competitor. She figures out a way to be effective. It's not pretty. But she figures out a way. She is a competitor. I know that she disappeared for no reason. I think took a mental health break, in my view. I think part of what's going on with Caitlin Clark is a mental health break, in my opinion. But my respect for Angel Reese just as a competitor and someone figuring out a way to survive and be effective in the WNBA, I can't do nothing but salute. I didn't see it. She's the most unskilled basketball player I've ever seen, but I got to give her credit.
I actually wish, and this is just me being honest, I wish Aaliyah Boston had the heart that Angel Reese has. Aaliyah Boston has the skills and the talent that Angel Reese doesn't have. But that thing that beats inside of your chest that makes you want to run through a brick wall and be an ultimate competitor, Aaliyah Boston does not have it. She's way too skilled, way too talented to be scoring 4 points in a single basketball game and only getting 6 rebounds. We watch Angel Reese go and get 20 rebounds, 14 rebounds, 13 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston, how are you only getting 6 rebounds and scoring 4 points? That is just a lack of drive and lack of effort, and she's too talented for it. If Aaliyah Boston had the effort and the heart that Angel Reese has, she would probably be the best player in the league.
I rebuke you in the name of Don Staley and all that is sacred in women's basketball. Listen, Aaliyah Boston's just different. I don't like Aaliyah Boston slander. You've done it. I'm not prepared to respond right now. Frank, do you have a thought?
I can't take Angel Reese serious when you missing layups like this. I can't.
They all miss layups.
No, yeah, but she's the worst, Frank. Jason, but she is the worst of them.
No.
Don't give me that. She is terrible tools. She sit there right in front of the rim and it's going over the backboard type stuff. Like, how can you take her seriously? This is grade school stuff.
Because it's ugly, it's not pretty to look at. But I bet you the second half of the season, the last 15 games she's played, she's probably shooting 53% from the field or something like that. And it's ugly, but I got to give her credit. Final thing, guys, here. Final thing. There's a lot of people, there's mixed feelings on Stephanie White. A lot of people giving her grace because, hey, look at all the injuries. No Caitlin Clark for most of the season. We're in playoff contention. Stephanie White's done a good job considering all the factors. Then there are other people that can't wait for the announcement that Stephanie White has been fired. Are you guys giving her grace, or would you like to see Stephanie White, the head coach of the Fever, fired?
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, fire. Fish grease. I need her out of here immediately, Jason. I mean, come on. I don't understand Stephanie White. I really don't. I don't get her rotations. I don't get her not playing Michaela Timpson. And you got Bree Turner coming off the bench as a 6-man. She does. Listen, Michaela Timpson is a better Bree Turner. And if you drafted her, she's been in there all season. If you give her time, she'd have been more ready to go for the playoffs and been a better offensive player, because she's trying to get her foot, she's trying to get her feet wet and when she get in the game, because she knows she's only playing 10, 12 minutes. So she throw up some BS sometimes. But if you give her time, I think she would be a good asset to the team. The defense that we running, the zone defense, we playing against the Valkyries, who got all sharpshooters around the floor except for Timmy, and we leaving them wide open at the 3. They 5 for 6 in the first 4 minutes of the game, and we still leaving the shooters wide open. That's a coaching issue, the defensive schemes that we have, and we're not gonna forget about her time at Vanderbilt when she was terrible coaching. Yeah, go look at her rap sheet at Vanderbilt and how many transfers. Before the transfer portal was popular, they was getting away from Stephanie Anthony White. them players was getting away. So yeah, she gotta go.
I'm out.
Final thought.
I'm completely out on Stephanie White. I don't care what you have done with the injuries. I need to know that you can be competent while Caitlin Clark is there, because that is what this is about. She's shown no ability. I mean, we watched her play Caitlin Clark as small forward for a game, for Christ's sakes. I mean, it is ridiculous. I'm not letting her use the injuries as an excuse. And I actually would like a coach that takes accountability. She's never once got to the post-game podium and said, yeah, this one falls on me. I need to have the team prepared better, whatever it is. She takes no accountability for anything that goes wrong with the team, anything that goes wrong in a game. I'm done with Stephanie White. I'm done with her.
Gentlemen, and Frank, we will play your song later this week. I want to put the lyrics on screen, and I might have a lyrical suggestion for you, but it's a great song. I don't want to give too much away, but we will do that later this week, so we'll circle back to you. Gentlemen, thank you for dealing with me today. I was on one. Thank you for salvaging the end of the show. You guys are great. We'll see you next time. For those of you that want some more from me, Shamika Michelle and I will be on the Harmony channel in 8 minutes. We'll be there at 11:45 Central Time, 12:45 Eastern Time. We'll discuss Snoop Dogg backpedaling because he's afraid of the Alphabet Mafia, and we'll discuss Brittany Renner and P.J. Washington, the NBA player, beefing over their child on camera. We'll do that on the Harmony channel. We'll play tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom.